There comes a moment in life when the world around you continues to move, but your world suddenly stops. A coffee cup still sits on the kitchen counter, untouched. The favorite chair in the living room stays vacant, and silence, once peaceful, now echoes like a storm. This is the raw, unfiltered reality of losing a spouse. If you're here today, perhaps you've experienced that heartbreak, or you fear it may one day come. The truth is, nothing prepares you for the tidal wave of emotions that follows, not even decades of marriage. Not even the long goodbye of illness. Not even love itself. But beyond the tears and the grief lies something few people talk about: the decisions. So many decisions, and they come fast, too fast. When your heart is breaking, when you can barely breathe, you're asked to make choices that could impact the rest of your life. In this video, we will not shy away from the truth, because what you're about to hear could save you from years of regret. Protect your finances, and more importantly, safeguard your peace of mind. These are not just mistakes, they're emotional traps that thousands of older adults fall into every single day after losing a life partner. And trust me, I've spent decades listening to their stories, researching the patterns, and understanding what really happens behind closed doors when grief knocks at the door. So, whether you're watching this for yourself, for a parent, or just to prepare for the road ahead, stay with me until the end. Because what you learn today may not only protect your future, but help you reclaim your strength, your identity, and even your joy. And if at any point during this video you find yourself nodding, reflecting, or simply feeling seen, I ask you to subscribe to Daily Elder Advice. We create content that honors your journey, your wisdom, and your resilience. Now, let's walk this path one step at a time with care, clarity, and courage. Chapter 1: The Silent Price of Rushed Financial Decisions. When the person you've built your life with suddenly disappears, it's as if the ground beneath your feet crumbles. And in that chaos, many people instinctively try to cling to something, anything, that gives a sense of control. Often, that something becomes money, bank accounts, insurance policies, wills, pensions, house deeds. They all start to look like puzzles that must be solved right away. But here's the truth no one tells you: grief clouds judgment. It doesn't just affect your heart, it affects your ability to think clearly, to weigh consequences, and to see beyond the fog of pain. According to neurologists at Johns Hopkins University, grief temporarily alters brain function. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making and rational thought, can become overwhelmed by emotional processing. That's why in the weeks and months following a spouse's death, people often say, "I don't know what I was thinking." And yet, this is exactly the moment many are forced to make decisions that affect the rest of their lives. Real-life story: Margaret's regretful move. Margaret was 74 when her husband, David, passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack. They had been married for 48 years, lived in the same house for over 3 decades, and raised their children within its walls. A week after the funeral, a neighbor gently suggested, "You should consider downsizing, dear, it might be easier for you." The seed was planted, friends repeated it, her daughter echoed the same thought, and in her disoriented, heartbroken state, Margaret agreed. Within 3 months, the house was sold, and she moved into a compact condo 3 towns away. "I thought I was being practical," she told me in one of our interviews, "but what I really wanted was to escape the silence. The walls of that house knew too much." But once she settled into the new space, something unexpected happened. She felt even lonelier. The comfort of familiar surroundings, her rose garden, the neighbor who always brought her soup, were gone. What she needed was not a change of environment. She needed time to mourn. And that mistake couldn't be undone. The pressure to do something often comes from a well-meaning place. But what your soul needs after loss is stabilization, not transformation. You need space to feel, not to fix. You need people to sit with you in the pain, not push you toward action. Unfortunately, many seniors find themselves targeted in this vulnerable window. Financial predators know when pension checks hit. They watch obituaries. Scams disguised as investment opportunities suddenly show up in the mailbox. Long-lost cousins call out of nowhere. And even without predators, some widows and widowers fall into another trap: impulsive giving. Gifting large sums to children or grandchildren as a way to feel useful or make a difference might seem noble, but it can leave you financially exposed later in life. Especially as healthcare needs rise with age. This is where the one-year rule comes in. Many financial advisors strongly recommend making no major decisions moving, investing, gifting, or selling for at least 12 months after a spouse's passing. Why? Because by then, the emotional storm has begun to settle, and decisions come from intention rather than reaction. Your spouse may no longer be physically present, but their love for you still echoes, and that love would never want you to be taken advantage of or make decisions in a daze of sorrow. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to act quickly. What you do need is space to grieve, people you trust, and the patience to let time offer perspective. So pause, breathe, delay the sale, postpone the gift, shelve the investment. You owe yourself the kindness of waiting until you are ready, truly ready, to decide. Let clarity, not grief, be the voice that guides your choices. If you're still here and this chapter resonated with you, leave a comment with the number 1 below. Let us know you're walking this path too, and that you're taking it one step at a time. And don't forget to subscribe to Daily Elder Advice if you haven't already. The road ahead is long, but you don't have to walk it alone. Chapter 2: The Quiet Trap of Isolation and How It Slowly Breaks the Soul. After losing a spouse, you may notice something odd. The world keeps turning. The sun rises, bills still arrive, and the phone still rings. But none of it seems to matter. You stop answering the phone. You skip the birthday party. You sit in silence and tell yourself, I just need more time. But day by day, that silence grows. It settles in your walls, your routines, even in your bones. And what started as a moment of rest becomes a pattern of withdrawal. Psychologists have long studied the effects of bereavement, and one truth is clear. Prolonged social isolation is as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases your risk of depression, heart disease, weakened immunity, and even premature death. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a biological thread. Your brain is wired for connection. When that connection is severed, especially after decades of marriage, the emotional rupture spills into the body. Sleep becomes erratic, energy disappears, and the motivation to bounce back fades, leaving only numbness. Real-life story: Walter and the coffee that changed his life. Walter was 78 when his wife, Helen, passed away. She had been his everything, his co-captain, his Sunday crossword partner, his reason to cook breakfast every morning. After her funeral, Walter retreated. He stopped going to church. He let the garden die. He ignored his children's calls, not out of spite, but out of sorrow. One day, a neighbor knocked. Come have coffee with me, she said. He almost said no, but something in her eyes reminded him of kindness. He agreed. That cup of coffee became a weekly ritual, and that ritual became his rescue. Through that simple act, just sitting, talking, remembering, Walter began to rediscover a life beyond the loss. Not a life without his wife, but a life where her memory could live on in laughter, in community, in quiet companionship. Isolation doesn't always announce itself. It often shows up disguised as phrases like, I just don't feel like talking today. They wouldn't understand anyway. It's easier to be alone. And while it's true that grief is deeply personal and solitude has its place, chronic isolation can lead to dangerous emotional spirals, depression, loss of purpose, a sense that you no longer belong anywhere. But here's the truth, you still do. Even if you're not ready to talk, being in the presence of others, listening, walking beside someone, sitting in silence with a friend, can keep you tethered to the living world. It can stop you from slipping too far into the shadows. And please, don't push away those who care. They may fumble with their words. They may not fully grasp your pain, but their intentions are likely rooted in love. Let them in, slowly. Let their presence soften the ache, even if it's just for a moment. If talking to friends feels too hard, consider grief support groups, in person, online, or through your local community center. There are people out there who are walking the same path. Hearing someone say, I understand because I've been there, can bring a healing that words alone cannot. Grief tells you to hide. It whispers, you're a burden, no one will understand. But grief is a liar. Your story still matters, your presence still brings value. And your healing, yes, your healing depends on connection. You don't have to host a dinner party. You don't have to smile if you don't feel like it. But please answer the phone. Step outside. Say yes to coffee. Let someone sit with you in the silence. Because sometimes, just one conversation can save your life. If this chapter touched your heart, leave the number 2 in the comments so we know you're here with us. Chapter 3. The invisible collapse when you stop caring for yourself. After the funeral flowers have browned and withered, after the calls slow down and the fridge of casseroles empties, a different kind of silence begins to settle, not in the house, but within you. It's the quiet surrender of the self. At first, it's subtle. You skip breakfast one day. You don't refill your prescription. You cancel the doctor's appointment because, well, what's the point? And no one may notice right away, but grief does. Grief notices everything, and if left unspoken and unchecked, it begins to hollow you out from the inside. The truth is, many older adults fall into this invisible collapse without realizing it. You might tell yourself that neglecting your health is a form of mourning, or that it feels wrong to prioritize your well-being while your spouse is gone. But let's be clear, not eating, not sleeping, not moving, these aren't acts of devotion. They are signs of loss turning inward, quietly stealing from you what time has not. This chapter isn't about telling you to be cheerful or move on. It's about survival, gentle, sacred, and necessary survival. Eat, even if it's only half a bowl of soup. Move, even if it's just to the mailbox. Go outside, even if just to feel the sun on your skin. Let yourself live. You are not selfish for wanting to feel better. You are not betraying your spouse by choosing to stay well. In fact, staying alive, really alive, is one of the deepest ways you can honor the life you shared. Because I promise you this, if they loved you, they would want your heart to keep beating, your lungs to keep breathing, and your eyes to someday light up again, even if only for a few moments at a time. Multiple studies from Harvard and the Mayo Clinic confirm a striking phenomenon. Widows and widowers face up to a 66% higher risk of dying in the first 3 months after losing a spouse. This isn't just emotional, it's physiological. Stress from grief floods the body with cortisol, weakening the immune system, raising blood pressure, and increasing the likelihood of heart attacks, strokes, and cognitive decline. Add to that poor nutrition, lack of sleep, and social isolation, and it's the perfect storm. Real-life story: James and the microwave dinners. James, 81, lost his wife, Lorraine, after 55 years of marriage. She had always been the one who cooked, reminded him to take his pills, insisted on their evening walks. After her passing, James found himself eating frozen dinners, sometimes skipping meals altogether. He slept in the recliner. He stopped going to the doctor. "I thought, why bother?" he told his daughter when she visited and found a week's worth of unopened mail on the kitchen counter. But she didn't scold him. Instead, she brought groceries. She helped him prepare small, simple meals, nothing fancy. Just eggs, soup, and fresh fruit. Within weeks, James felt clearer, more energetic. The aches in his joints lessened. His grief was still there, but he was no longer drowning in it. That shift, tiny and slow, saved his health. Here's what many don't realize: grief doesn't ask for permission to destroy your routine. It sneaks in while you're grieving and starts to convince you that your well-being is secondary. But your body and mind need you now more than ever. It's okay to feel exhausted. It's okay to feel lost. But don't give up on yourself. Here are small but powerful steps that can change everything. Eat intentionally even when you're not hungry. Aim for one nutritious meal a day. Bone broth, boiled eggs, fruit, warm oatmeal, simple is enough. Move your body. A 10-minute walk outside can reset your nervous system and regulate your emotions. Hydrate. Dehydration worsens fatigue and cognitive fog. Sleep gently. Try creating a calming routine before bed. Herbal tea. Soft music, no TV or phone. Check in with your doctor. This is not the time to skip appointments. You might feel fine, but grief-related stress shows up where you least expect it. And most importantly, acknowledge your pain. Don't hide it, suppress it, or let it fester. Speak to someone, a grief counselor, a pastor, a friend, or even a support group. You are not weak for needing help. You are stronger for asking. Your spouse wouldn't want you to fade away. They wouldn't want your light to dim. your strength to vanish, or your health to deteriorate because of their absence. They would want you to live fully, intentionally, and with dignity. Taking care of yourself is not a betrayal of the one you lost. It is a sacred act of remembrance. It is saying, because you loved me well, I will carry forward that love by caring for myself. So today, eat something nourishing, go for a walk, call your doctor. You matter. If this chapter spoke to your heart, type 3 in the comments below and let others know they're not alone in their healing. Chapter 4. Rushing into a new relationship too soon, a mistake of the heart. There's a particular silence that lingers after the loss of a spouse. It's not just the absence of footsteps in the hallway or the missing mug on the breakfast table, it's the silence inside your chest, where a familiar voice used to echo. In that space of deep loneliness, many hearts begin to search for something, someone, to fill the void. And this is where one of the most dangerous emotional traps appears: the temptation to rush into a new relationship before the grieving heart has healed. At first, it may feel like hope, a new face, a gentle voice, a distraction from the pain. But if it comes too soon, before grief has done its sacred work, this new connection can become another form of sorrow in disguise. Grief psychologists warn that romantic decisions made within the first year of spousal loss are often fueled by emotional displacement rather than genuine readiness. The brain, in its desperate attempt to avoid prolonged sadness, seeks dopamine and comfort, both of which can come from the attention and affection of a new person. However, when emotional clarity is compromised, people tend to idealize new relationships or overlook red flags, increasing the likelihood of regret, heartbreak, or emotional dependency. In fact, a study published in the Journal of Bereavement Care found that widowed individuals who rushed into new relationships within 6 months of their spouse's death reported higher levels of unresolved grief, anxiety, and emotional confusion than those who waited. It's important to understand that longing for connection after loss is not a flaw. It's human. After all, your days were once filled with someone else's breath, laughter, and companionship. But when that bond is abruptly broken, trying to replace it too quickly can backfire. New relationships entered during grief are often built on need, not choice, and when your identity has been intertwined with someone for decades, it takes time to rediscover who you are on your own. Also, sadly, not all who offer comfort have good intentions. Financial scammers and emotional manipulators often target widows and widowers, knowing that grief makes people vulnerable. If someone you meet pushes for quick commitments, asks for money, or encourages you to distance yourself from family or longtime friends, those are red flags. Real love never rushes. Real love respects grief. Real love doesn't pressure, it waits. It's also important to acknowledge internal conflict. Many seniors feel guilty for even thinking about dating again. Others fear judgment from their children or community. Still others worry that falling in love again would mean forgetting the spouse they lost. But here's the truth. Love after loss is not betrayal. It's not replacement. It's a different kind of chapter one that should only begin when the previous one has been fully closed. With care and clarity. If you're grieving, be gentle with your heart. It has been through a storm, and it deserves rest before it loves again. You don't have to shut yourself off from the possibility of companionship. But you do need to make sure that when love arrives again, it comes into a heart that is whole, not one still bleeding. Take your time, rediscover your rhythm, relearn what makes you smile. Love again only when you feel strong enough to offer your heart as a gift, not as a wound waiting to be bandaged. The right person will understand your past, respect your grief, and walk beside you, not to replace what was lost, but to help you carry its memory forward with dignity. If this chapter gave you clarity or comfort, leave the number 4 in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed to Daily Elder Advice yet, please do. We offer a safe space for hearts healing from loss, one video at a time. Chapter 5. Holding on to every possession without letting go, a gentle guide to releasing, not erasing. Grief has a way of attaching itself to things. A favorite sweater still hanging by the door, a toothbrush untouched, a handwritten note in the nightstand drawer. After losing a spouse, even the smallest item can feel like a lifeline, a thread connecting us to the presence that once filled our world. And so, we hold on to everything, afraid that letting go means forgetting, that packing up their clothes is an act of betrayal, that changing anything would erase the life we built together. But here's the truth. Holding on to every single thing may feel like preservation, but sometimes it becomes a prison. Psychologists specializing in grief recovery explain that while it's healthy to keep meaningful items, refusing to change or release any belongings for long periods can hinder emotional healing. The brain links memory to physical objects, a phenomenon called associative anchoring. While this can offer comfort in the early stages of mourning, prolonged exposure to untouched spaces and items can actually reinforce emotional pain, prolong sadness, and lead to a condition called complicated grief, a state where a person becomes emotionally stuck, unable to move forward. Letting go in stages, in contrast, creates space for new emotional growth while still honoring the past. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean closing a door on your memories or diminishing the love you shared. It means creating space for your own life to continue. Some people feel pressure from family. It's time to clear out mom's things, they say. Others feel pressure from within. I must keep everything or I'm a bad spouse. But the truth is, grief is not about volume. It's not measured in how many boxes of clothes you keep. It's measured in the love that lives inside you, and that love cannot be boxed up or thrown away. Here's what can help. Start small. Choose one drawer, one shelf, or one category like shoes or books. Keep what holds meaning, not what triggers pain. A favorite sweater, a handwritten note, a wedding ring, these are keepsakes. A medicine bottle, a receipt, a cracked hairbrush, these are burdens. Create a memory corner, a small altar, a box, or a space in the home that celebrates your loved one without overwhelming your daily life. Transform, don't just remove. Some people find comfort in repurposing, like turning old shirts into quilts, letters into a journal, or jewelry into keepsakes for grandchildren. There's no need to rush. There's no right number of days. But beware the weight of keeping everything unchanged. Over time, it can quietly deepen your sadness and prevent your home from being a space of peace and renewal. You are not dishonoring your spouse by moving forward. You are not erasing their presence by creating space for healing. You are simply allowing your grief to evolve from sharpness to softness, from sorrow to strength. Letting go is not a betrayal. It is an act of love, a whisper to the world and to yourself that their memory lives not just in a closet or a chair, but in every heartbeat you carry forward. You do not need to keep everything. What matters most can never be lost. It is already part of you. So take one step, just one. Choose one item, honor it, then breathe. Healing happens gently, one breath and one object at a time. If this chapter gave you the courage to begin letting go, comment the number 5 below. Losing your life partner is not just a chapter ending. It's the collapse of a world built from shared glances, old routines, private jokes, and decades of memories that no one else fully understands. And when that world vanishes, you're left standing in its ruins, holding not only your pain, but every choice that comes after it. In this video, we've gently walked through 5 quiet but costly mistakes that many people unknowingly make after losing a spouse, making rushed financial decisions, withdrawing from the people who care, neglecting your health, entering new relationships too soon, and clinging to every possession out of fear of forgetting. And we've seen how each of these mistakes, though deeply human, can keep you anchored in suffering instead of moving forward with peace. But here's the most important truth I want you to remember. Grief is not a straight line. It is a winding path. Some days, you will feel like you're making progress. Other days, even breathing may feel like a task. That's okay. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply healing in your own time, in your own way. And healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means allowing yourself to live with the memory, not under the weight of it. It means learning how to carry love in your pocket, instead of dragging grief behind you like a chain. Your spouse's story may be complete, but yours is not. There is still music to hear, still sunrises to watch, still laughter waiting to find you again. So take the time you need. Say no when you must. Say yes only when your heart is truly ready. And above all, take care of yourself, because you are still here. And that means life, in all its quiet beauty, is still inviting you forward. We'd love to hear from you now. Which of these 5 chapters spoke to you the most? Leave a comment below with the number that resonates with your heart. or share your own story if you feel ready. You never know who you might help just by speaking your truth. If you found comfort, clarity, or strength in this video, please subscribe to Daily Elder Advice. Your support allows us to continue creating content that honors grief, celebrates wisdom, and helps you navigate life's most meaningful transitions with grace. Thank you for spending this time with us. And remember, you are not alone. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. We'll see you in the next video, and until then, take gentle care of yourself.